Today we are making another dish that has been highly requested. Hey super foodies, and welcome back to Cooking with Angeli. This dish came about when me and my fiance finished work super late, I think like 8-9 o'clock one day, and we just needed something really quick to eat, and I used whatever I had left over to make this. I think on the day I had some stir-fry veg which I'd frozen. I didn't have any meat or anything, any kind of heavy vegetables that I could use as a meat replacement, so we used Quorn chicken instead, and I had Maggi noodles. I'm going to recreate this because I remember when I posted it on Instagram I got a lot of love for it and a lot of people wanted to know the recipe. So let's just get started. Normally we buy chicken or curry flavoured Maggi. Today I've got this lying around in the cupboard. It's the Maggi masala noodles, and I'm just going to pop them in the bowl that I'm going to serve in. This is super quick and uses the least amount of dishes possible. I'm just going to break it in half and in half that way. There we go. I'm going to pop all the bits into the bowl. So for 2 people, you'd probably need 2 packets of Maggi, but you could get away with using 1 packet and just halving it and then halving the powder inside as well. And I'm going to take the packet of masala and I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. I actually make this Maggi all the time for lunch if I'm editing or if I'm short of time or I'm having a late lunch. So with Maggi, I often find that the seasoning is really good, but I just need a little bit extra on top of it. So I'm gonna add a sprinkle of garlic salt just to cover the Maggi. I'm going to add some chili flakes. I'm going to add some black pepper. And if I feel like it, I add a tiny amount of salt, but I'm not gonna add that today, because we're going to be making our stir fry and we'll be adding salt to that soy sauce. 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, and I'm just going to give it a quick stir, and that is dark soy sauce. Got some boiling water here, so next I'm going to add enough water just to cover the Maggi. So because this is a ramen, you can actually add more water, but because I've got quite a wide bowl, I'm just going to add enough to cover the Maggi. And I'm gonna pop that aside and cover it. Alternatively, you guys can cook the Maggi in a saucepan. If you cook it on the stove, it takes less time, it takes about 2 minutes. But I'm gonna let it sit for as long as it takes for the stir fry to cook, and I give it a stir halfway through. Normally I leave it for 5 to 15 minutes, depending on whether it's covered or not. If it's covered, I leave it for less time. If it's uncovered, I might leave it for longer, like the full 15 minutes, just because I like the flavour to fully absorb into the noodles. So we're gonna get started on the stir fry. I'm going to use my wok and I'm going to add a little bit of oil, very little amount, because I'm actually using a non-stick wok. There we go. I might add a little bit more if I need it later. Just swirl that around and let the wok heat up. I've got some diced onion here. They're quite big chunks. You guys can choose to dice them smaller or you could add slices in. It's entirely up to you. We're going to add them to our heated wok. Give them a stir, and we're currently doing all of this on a high heat. So in here I've got about 2 tablespoons of ginger paste. Biting back, just turn it down a little bit. I'm also going to add a tablespoon and a half of garlic paste, and I'm going to add my famous extremely spicy chilies. There's about 1.5 teaspoons in here. You guys can add the normal 1/2 teaspoon if you prefer it to be less spicy, but because we like it spicy, I'm adding a little bit more. And I'm just gonna give that a stir and I've turned the heat down to stop it splattering on me, and also because the next thing I'm going to add is a little bit frozen. So I have some stir-fry vegetables here, which were frozen, and I have 300 grams here altogether. I separated the bowls after the eggs last time. If I was using fresh stir-fry vegetables, it wouldn't matter what order you add them in. I might add the corn pieces first, I might add the vegetables first. But today, because these might release some water, I'm actually gonna add the vegetables first, burn off some of that water, and then add the corn pieces after so that they don't kind of stew in the water. So that's pretty much done. I'm gonna add the stir fry veg. You can see the steam, the water's being released from the veg. I'm just gonna stir that in and try to separate all the pieces. Okay, because we want the water to burn off, I'm gonna turn it back up to a high heat again. We don't want the vegetables to stew, we want them to fry. There's a little bit of water coming out, but it actually isn't too much. I think when I made this recipe last time, I had nothing left. I had no green chili, I had no pepper, I think, and potentially no oil. There's not a lot of oil in this recipe, and there's not a lot of dry ingredients either. I'm just gonna keep moving the veg around so that the water burns off. Okay, it's sticking to the sides a little, so I'm gonna add a little bit more oil. The veg is coming along nicely. The water's mostly burnt off now, so I'm gonna add the corn chicken, or the corn style, the corn pieces, sorry. I'm so used to calling this chicken because I actually eat meat and it's probably the most similar to chicken, but these are corn pieces. That's 200 grams. I'm just gonna give it a stir. So quantity-wise, we are making enough for, I'd say 2 people today, 2 portions. You guys can add more veg, you can add more corn chunks, it's entirely up to you. Tad bit more oil. Just want to keep it moving so that it doesn't burn on the bottom. So to this, initially, like I said, I didn't have a lot left in the house, so I didn't add much to it. Garlic is there, ginger is there. I'm not going to add any more garlic powder or ginger powder. Let's add a little bit of salt and a tad bit of pepper. So I'm just going to add a small crack of salt, and same with the pepper. If you guys over season the Maggi, then you might not need to season the stir fry at all. But I'm just gonna add a little bit to get some flavor in there. I'm not going to add any more soy sauce because I added quite a bit to the Maggi noodles. But of course you could do it the other way around. I just like to have that salty soy sauce taste in the water and in the ramen broth, not just in the vegetables that you add on top. Some of the best things about this dish are that it's really quick and easy to make. It's super tasty. It has lots of different elements and you can choose to add as many elements as you like. The Maggi noodles are really soft. The broth just kind of brings all the flavors together. You cook the vegetables separately and when you add them on top, they just add another kind of layer of crunch. The soy chunks gives you the protein and kind of a meaty flavor and that heaviness that makes it filling. And you can choose to add soft-boiled egg, hard-boiled egg, seaweed, chopped up seaweed I add sometimes, or even these roasted sesame seeds, which I'm gonna add on top in a moment. Our corn chunks were frozen as well, but there's been no water come out of them. So you can use them straight from frozen. I guess alternatively, you guys can defrost the stir-fry vegetables as well and remove some of the water if you choose to do it that way. But because this is such a last-minute recipe, I just try and find a way to chuck it all in so that I don't have to wait or do a lot of prep beforehand. It smells good. I'm just gonna taste a carrot from the side. Ooh. Okay, maybe not, it's really hot. It tastes good already. And I barely added anything to it. Salt, ginger, garlic, chili. Ooh, it's spicy. I'm gonna press one of the corn pieces and give it a taste to check whether it's done. So that's done. I reckon it's been like 20 minutes. And our dish is pretty much ready to serve. This needs a tad bit more water because we're making a ramen. I've just quickly boiled some water. I'm just gonna add it to the sides. I'm gonna let it sit for a moment. I'm just gonna stir the noodles into the water. They're still piled quite high, which is good because you want the vegetable to sit on top of the noodles so that they don't get too soggy and you get the crunch. Just gonna pat it down so that it all heats up nicely. And then what I'm gonna do is put my fork underneath and just lift the noodles up from the middle. So now that this is ready, I'm going to add the stir-fry veg and corn pieces. Let's add some vegetables. There's a lot of corn chicken in here. You can always choose to use less if you prefer that and you prefer to have more veg. What you can also do is add additional veg like mushrooms and peppers. And I'm just going to top with some sesame seeds. And there we have it. It's ready to serve. That is so good. So if you guys enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like, share with your family and friends, subscribe and press the bell icon for future videos. If you guys have a go at making this, don't forget to tag me at cookingwithangeli and hashtag cookingwithangeli on Instagram so that I can check out your posts and your stories. I'll leave a link to all my kitchen and tech gear in the description box below, and comment down below what you guys want to see going forward. What dishes do you want to see, dinners or lunches or quick weekday meals, desserts, drinks? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye guys, and eat.